So wonderful, Sadhguruji. I know everybody in the beautiful auditorium here, and the thousands of people who are watching live on the internet, they all want to know, is there a prescription for good health? Spirituality, yoga, meditation? Because I have seen, some of the impossible things that you have done for other people when they were not well. But more importantly, when your health took bad, no doctor or no medical dictionary or directory could ever detect it. So is there something else to stay well? I read in the book, Aditi beautifully wrote in a biography. She said you are a mystic, to have an undiagnosed illness and then got it cured.
See,
I hope you all have the same question on your health. You want to stay healthy, right? And everybody who is looking at us today, they want to know if Dr. Reddy never asked this question. How do we stay? I want their business, but I want them to stay well strong.
The thing is, we created this body from inside. So the manufacturer of this body is inside. So if you have a repair job to be done, would you like to go to the manufacturer or to the local mechanic? If you had excess, you would like to go to the manufacturer. If you lost excess, you will go to the local tinker to do this and that. If there was no medical science as it is, I would say even half the people would be dead by now, here in this audience. Yes. Because the average life expectancy of an Indian in 1947 was 28 years. Today it has risen to 64. One important factor is medical science the way it is. So I am not trying to belittle or make fun of medical sciences. It is very significant. What has been achieved in the last 30 to 40 years is phenomenal. The question is just this: if you had access to the source of that which creates this body, definitely every problem that you generate within the body could be handled. Now there are two kinds of ailments, infectious and chronic. Infectious ailments happen to us because of an external invasion from an organism. You must go to the doctor, don't try to meditate on it. But 70% of the ailments on the planet are self-created. I am saying self-created because it happened from within you. So what is happening from within you can be very easily fixed from within you. What comes to you from outside, you need outside help for that. So you have to fight an organism, then you need medicine. So, the rest of the ailments, almost 70%, are self-created. Why would your body work against you? This body is essentially programmed for health. Every cell in this body is programmed for health. Why would it turn against you? Because somewhere you're not keeping it happy. To put it in a very simple language, why would your own family turn against you? Somewhere they're not happy with you, isn't it? Yes or no? They're not happy with you with something that you're doing. So similarly, some cells in the body, some parts of your body are not happy with you for some reason. You must pay a little more attention. There is a way, a systematic way of paying attention to this one, because everything in this body was created from within. When it is so, can't it fix from within? So this is not a miracle. I want people to understand this is not a miracle. What is a miracle is, suppose you did not know what is electricity. I came here and I just press that part of the wall and lights come on. Who do you think I am? Suppose, 1,000 years ago, if I had a cell phone, I could just pull out the cell phone and talk to somebody in America. You would think I'm God, isn't it? So what is a miracle is that which you do not understand. that which is not fitting into your logical perception seems miraculous to you. As your logic evolves, so many things which were miracles 100 years ago are normal things in our day-to-day life today, isn't it? Isn't it so? So, it is not a miracle, it's just a deeper understanding of your own, the way you're constructed. So, this is something that we need to pay attention to.
So the title of this conversation, the subtitle of Conversation with a Mystic.
That's only for you. I'm not conversing with a mystic, so I'm at ease.
That's my job. That's my job. Got it. I know, and I have many questions, you know. Sadhguru said, I've never seen someone with so many questions. He said, no answers, only questions. I think the subtext, which I actually am talking about because I liked it, is an experiential, for today, an experiential symposium on optimal health and well-being. And I think there's a tremendous amount for us to talk about even in that phrase. One is the role of experience. And I will say that, you know, my office being responsible for cultural transformation, I've become obsessed with what is culture. And the definition that I use, because it guides our strategies, is behavior. This definition was given to me by Admiral Grossenbacher. Is behavior, either collective or individual behavior, based in experience and incentives. Meaning that if we're going to transform or shift what the medical model is today and what healthcare is today, we can't start with just the data. If people do not have an inner experience, not much will change. Can you say some about what you think the role of experience is in today and in healthcare?
So you need to understand this. Largely for most human beings, experience is being kind of created and regulated by the way they think and feel. But what you think and what you feel need not necessarily have anything to do with reality as such. There is something called as a psychological reality and there is an existential reality. By controlling or handling the psychological reality well, a lot of people can become healthy, a lot, because for a lot of them that is the cause of their ailment. And it can also fix other things to some extent. So, like right now, Mitch was talking about, you know, somebody prays and somebody creates a certain attitude around them of love and care and compassion. This is all psychological structure. You create a psychological structure with which you become open to certain dimensions of life. It becomes a possibility to transact in a certain way with least amount of friction and creates well-being. But there's an existential dimension to this. Existentially, what are you made of? What is the world made of? If you look at it, this is the most fundamental aspect of yoga. This is called as Bhuta Shuddhi. This means elemental, cleansing of the elemental nature. The whole universe is a manifestation of 5 elements. So is this body. Out of these 5, there are only 4 that you can really handle. Another one you just experience, it's the ambience for the other 4. So the earth, water, fire, air and the space. So you only have to handle really 4. With 4 ingredients, so much magic and mischief is happening in the universe. If there were 4 million, we would be not able to handle it. 4 for sure we can handle, isn't it? 4 ingredients, if they're functioning the way you want them, then everything about you will be great. Out of these 4, 72% of your water, your body is actually water, so is the planet. The same composition of the planet you have in your body. About 12% is earth, about 6% is air, 4% is fire, the remaining is space. This is how it is looked at. If you master these 4, even if you have a bit of control over these 4, you will see miraculously you will generate health within the system. If you fail on this, then the next level of handling this is, nature has evolved certain things in the form of herbs and many things which are healthful to us, so we can learn to use them. If you fail in that, then you can create a psychological structure which will create health for you. If you fail in that, then you go for the chemical treatment. If you fail in that, then you go for a surgery.
So that's the escalation.
Direct intervention of cutting something, putting something, if nothing else you're capable of doing. But now you're talking about a large-scale thing across the populations. We always think anything subtle cannot be done large-scale. I disagree with that, this is my opinion. Because it is just that we have not done enough work towards that and we assume that it's not possible. To create a certain sensitivity towards something and approach it in a subtle manner is possible, but it's only possible if it goes into every home, every parent, every man and woman in the world or in the country starts working towards it. When you want such a big goal to be achieved, it's not going to happen overnight. We must be willing to be committed for a whole generation or two, then something will happen. Something wonderful will happen. But right now, we are in today's world, everything has to happen by today evening. If it doesn't happen, tomorrow we dump it and have a new project going. So in that context, it will not happen. In that context, it's better we work towards a plastic heart and a plastic liver and a plastic kidney where we can start replacing them every 5 years and somehow function. See, health does not mean that just the medical parameters are okay. Health means you must feel a certain sense of wholeness. The word health itself comes from that word whole. A certain sense of wholeness, when you wake up in the morning, you are more alive than you are when you went to bed. You feel 10 years younger than the time when you went to bed. If you feel like that, that means you're healthy. It is just that all the tests are showing you're normal, that is still not normal, because you have no experience of health. So when you say experience, ultimately we have come here only to experience life, isn't it? So we know that experience is the most important aspect of life. Now we're talking about the word experience in two different ways. One is our experience of life itself, how profound and how wonderful it is, or how nasty and how unpleasant it is. So the pleasantness that we generate in the body, we call this as health. Right now, that is the object of discussion, I don't want to go further, but the same pleasantness, if it hits a higher pitch, we call it pleasure. But if your mind becomes pleasant, you would call it peacefulness. If it becomes very pleasant, you would call it joyfulness. If your emotions become pleasant, you would call it love or affection. If it becomes very pleasant, you would call it compassion. If your very life energy, if you make it pleasant, we call it bliss. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it ecstasy. This is what a human being is seeking all the time. He wants pleasantness inside. Well, if your surroundings become pleasant, we call it success. This is what every human being is looking for all the time. There is a whole science as to how to create the inner pleasantness. External pleasantness needs cooperation from many people. It's not just yours. The other stakeholders who may want to make it nasty for you It needs many people's cooperation, but inner pleasantness is 100% yours. But why have we not strived for it? We have not strived for it because generally we have spread this message, it is not possible unless everything in the universe is fixed. When I first came to United States, one word I was hearing everywhere is stress management. I could not understand this because in my mind, we manage things which are precious to us. Our family, our wealth, our business and whatever else which is valuable to us. Why would anybody want to manage stress? Is something I couldn't get for some time It is just because we've spread the idea that stress is a part of your life. Stress is not a part of your life. Stress is not because of your job. Stress is simply because you do not know how to manage your own system.
Today, the medical science has reached a level, Sadhguru, we really do not have to touch the patient. When I see a patient in my office, he would have undergone all kinds of tests.
Scans.
Everything is done, all the images are displayed, history is written, everything is planned. Technically, I can see the reports and tell the patient, okay, you need a bypass or you need valve replacement. But I always make it a point to take my stethoscope, put it on the chest, listen to the heart, look at the patient's eyes, put my hand around on his shoulders, touch the patient, and then explain to them what is going on and talk to the family. I personally feel that touch has the most healing power than anything else what we have invented. Do you believe in that, Swamiji?
See, what is not understood is, yes, one part of us is mechanical, but there are other dimensions. Most of the time, the mechanical part has gone wrong because we have not tended to the other dimensions. So what is lacking in their life is, their life is not touched. Not necessarily a physical touch, is just a manifestation. Essentially, their life is not touched by anything. When I say touched by anything, it need not necessarily be a relationship. You can be touched by so many things. I don't know how many of you… when was the last… how many decades ago did you watch a sunrise? Or a sunset, or a moonrise. I'm saying not touched by anything. When was it the last time you waited for a flower to bloom? No such thing. When is the last time you paid an attention to a butterfly or a leaf or a flower or another human being? You're… of course, you don't like faces, you like the Facebook. I'm saying contact with life, whether it's human, animal, plant life or just elements around you, just that. How many people even take a moment to even look at the food that they're going to consume with a little bit of involvement, or are they touched by it? No. So at last, either a doctor has to touch it or in the end undertaker will touch you. You know, somebody will touch you, things gone bad, somebody has to touch you. So, does touch have a relevance? Tremendous relevance. Touch need not always be physical, it can be in so many different ways. If you are not touched by life, you are a dying life, you are not a living life. It may happen to you after some time, but it's happening, you're in progression. Because what you call as life, even in the physical level, it's medical knowledge for everybody now. The number of cells you have is more than the number of stars in the Milky Way, okay? Every day, over 600 million billion cells are dying and new cells are being born. That means every second, 10 million cells are dying and 10 million new cells are born in your body. If you just leave the old guys, if you just take charge of these new 10 million cells every second that's coming up in your body, if you structure them properly, create them properly, if you have some say in how they will happen, if you have some influence as to how these fresh cells are born, your heart should be fixed, your brain should be fixed, everything should be fixed. Because that is the level of opportunity you have to rejuvenate your life second to second. But because you're totally oblivious to life, when I say oblivious to life, I want you to look at this. Right now, you cannot even call yourself as a living being because most of the time, what is happening with you is just thought and emotion. Thought and emotion is just psychological drama. It has no existential relevance. Here, 1,000 people can sit here and live in 1,000 different worlds right now. That means nobody is in reality. Nobody is living, everybody is thinking about life. Psychological space, what happens, has unfortunately overtaken the existential process of life. You do not experience life, you're only thinking and reacting to situations around you. Thought and emotion is dominating everything. So right now, today morning, sun came up on time. You don't think much about that, okay, so what? Now you need to understand, if sun does not come up tomorrow morning, within 18 hours, all life on this planet will largely cease as we know it. So I'm telling you, sun came up on time today morning. I want to hear appropriate noises. Yeah. None of the planets in this solar system collided today. In the whole universe, no accidents. In this endless cosmos, no accidents, everything going right. But you have one nasty little thought crawling in your head and it's a bad day. I'm saying you completely lost perspective with life. You lost perspective as to who you are. It's a kind of madness. So once you lose perspective as to who you are and what is your space and status in this existence, you are a sickness by nature. It's not the doctor has to diagnose you, it's already on. One day it will manifest to a point where his instruments or his touch will tell him, but it's already on. The process is on. When it goes beyond a point, he'll give you a prescription or a surgery. But the process is on, you're working hard towards it.